Looking to find out what's happening on the NDSU campus? Watch Bison Information Network News every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday on Cable 1 Channel 70. This student-run weekly newscast covers relevant news and current events, entertainment, Bison sports, and more. Watch BIN News Fridays at 9 p.m., Saturdays at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m., and Sundays at 9 a.m. on Cable 1 Channel 70.
Bison Information Network News is brought to you in partnership with Cable 1.
Welcome to Bison Information Network News. I am Isaac Dienison.
And I'm Heather Viker. One person is dead after being hit by a train Monday afternoon. Police were called to the scene at 14th Street and Main Avenue in Moorhead at around 4:30.
According to emergency responders, the person who has yet to be identified died upon impact. Since the incident, an autopsy has been ordered for the victim. The train was stopped after hitting the pedestrian, and many downtown crossings were blocked off for over an hour after the incident.
A former West Fargo middle school teacher was sentenced to 10 years in prison after pleading guilty to having sex with a student and sharing illicit photos and videos with students Monday. 38-year-old Shannon Moser was initially charged with 8 felony accounts in July on charges that included sexual assault, gross sexual imposition, and 4 counts of luring minors by computer. West Fargo police began investigating Moser in June after an anonymous tip claimed she had been sharing nude Snapchat images with a 16-year-old student. Following the 10-year sentence, Moser will be subject to 5 years of supervised probation.
One person is dead after a 3-vehicle crash on Main Avenue in Fargo Wednesday. 88-year-old Lois Kohler Fritz was taken to the hospital after the collision and was later pronounced dead. No autopsy has been ordered. According to police, a westbound vehicle rear-ended an SUV on Main Avenue, but are still investigating on how a third vehicle was involved.
2 adults received medical treatment after a gas leak in Fargo Wednesday. Around 11:30, firefighters were dispatched to 4820 30th Avenue South, a building that encompasses a number of businesses and a daycare. 15 adults and 20 children were evacuated. Upon arrival, firefighters searched the building and found elevated carbon monoxide levels throughout the building of up to 70 ppm, which, when exposed to long enough, can be dangerous. According to a press release from the Fargo Fire Department, the high carbon monoxide levels were caused by a gas-powered concrete saw used inside the building without proper ventilation.
Gas leaks such as carbon monoxide poisoning rise in the wintertime. As you begin to heat your home, the state has issued some public safety tips to help you and your loved ones from carbon monoxide poisoning. The only way to be aware of the poisoning in your home is to install CO alarms. These alarms should be placed within 10 feet of each bedroom and replaced every 5 years. Annually inspect your furnace or wood-burning stove to make sure vents are working properly. Do not run gas or propane heaters or grills in homes or garages, and if you're using a generator, it must be at least 20 feet from your home when running. For additional tips, visit www.health.state.mn.us.
And now we go to Jay Lenander for our weekend weather update. Jay?
Thanks, Heather. If you've been outside lately, you've noticed that the weathers have definitely cooled down in the region, and winter is here. And looking at our Friday forecast, we will see more of the same. A partly cloudy day with a high of 22 and a low in the single digits of 8. Precipitation will be low, and humidity will be in about the mid-range, but wind speeds will be high at 18 miles per hour. And we can see that this will be the usual for the next 7 days in our 7-day weather forecast, with snow coming potentially tomorrow, but then a string of partly cloudy days with a low of potentially 4 on Monday being the coldest it's going to get. But a series of decently nice weather days despite the colder temperatures, and snow should not play a factor much in the next 7 days. Back to you guys at the desk.
Coming up, how Trump reacts to the election results, North Dakota's approval voting, and when the last day to drop classes is.
We'll be right back.
Located across the street from...
The day after the midterm elections, President Trump held a contentious news conference and later fired a top cabinet member. The political fate of Special Counsel Robert Mueller's probe, alarming Democrats who have to wait until January to take control of the House. Karen Kafa reports from Washington.
Ohio. President Trump changing the topic from the Democrats' midterm House victory. The president announcing via Twitter Wednesday afternoon that Jeff Sessions is out as Attorney General. Capitol Hill Democrats immediately worried about what that means for Special Counsel Robert Mueller's investigation.
It would create a constitutional crisis if this were a prelude to ending or greatly limiting the Mueller investigation.
The move, not a surprise. The president has been at odds with his attorney general since Sessions recused himself from the investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election. The president bypassing Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein and tapping Matthew Whitaker, Sessions' chief of staff, as interim attorney general. Whitaker had been critical of the Mueller probe before joining the DOJ and will now oversee the investigation. The White House downplaying the concerns of Democrats.
He's done a fabulous job, really, and I think as a former U.S. attorney, he understands all the business that's before the Department of Justice.
News of the Sessions firing came after a contentious news conference in which Trump talked up his party's midterm showing.
Last night, the Republican Party defied history to expand our Senate majority while significantly beating expectations in the House for the midterm and midterm year.
The Senate will have to confirm the eventual permanent Attorney General nominee. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
Fargo voters made a historic decision on Election Day. After voting in favor of Measure 1 by an almost 2-to-1 margin, Fargo will be the first city in the U.S. to use approval voting to select its local officials. Approval voting means that voters will now be able to vote for as many candidates as they want on the ballot for positions like mayor and city commissioners. This method of voting is meant to encourage people to vote for candidates that they agree with, regardless of how likely they think that candidate is to win.
With the semester coming to a close in a little over a month, winter graduation comes too. The NDSU bookstore hosted their biannual grad fair yesterday in consideration. The fair aims to ready students graduating this winter, providing a one-stop chance to organize themselves before the big day. At the fair, students can check with registration and records, get their photo taken, and buy various grad apparel like rings or diploma frames.
This is a really happy event. Students are really happy, and you've accomplished something you worked hard for, so we're glad to be part of that. And it's really fun. Everyone's in a good mood.
If you weren't able to make it to the grad fair and are graduating this winter, the bookstore can still assist you with your preparation through walk-ins.
NDSU students have until Friday, November 9th at midnight to drop any of their classes. The process is done through Campus Connection, and students will receive a W grade on their transcript for each dropped class. If you are dropping all classes or your only class, there is a withdraw to 0 credits form that must also be turned in by Friday at midnight. Any students with questions about this process should go to the one-stop desk at the Memorial Union or call 701-231-7981. A newly crowned Miss North Dakota USA and this week's Health Minute.
When we come back, a new Miss North Dakota USA has been crowned. Samantha Redding is the new Miss North Dakota USA, and Caitlin Vogel is the new Miss North Dakota Teen USA. The crowning happened this past Sunday in NDSU's Festival Concert Hall. Miss USA and Miss Teen USA focus on empowering women to be self-confident and to strive to be their personal best. The competition highlights partnering with charities, sponsors, and brands around the world. During their reign, the title holders will provide humanitarian efforts to affect positive change, all while developing their personal career goals.
We have reached the season of giving, and it's already off to a great start in the Red River Valley. Thanks to a local project, more than 21,000 pounds of locally grown fruits and vegetables are being donated to Fargo-Moorhead food pantries. The projects, which worked throughout the 2018 growing season, rescued produce to ensure it goes to locals in need and is not wasted. The total amounts to more than 17,000 meals.
Looking for your own way to give back to the community? A seasonal program provided by Valley Senior Services allows community members to adopt a senior who may not have loved ones in the area to celebrate the upcoming holidays with. Starting on Friday, November 16th, wish lists can be picked up by volunteers on Christmas trees located at Valley Senior Services, The Depot, and Courts Plus. Gifts can be dropped off at Valley Senior Center or left at the same location by noon on Friday, December 7th. For more information on how you can get involved, you can contact Valley Senior Services at 701-293-1440.
When it comes to treating cervical cancer, there isn't a one-size-fits-all approach, but the types of surgeries available to individual patients can affect their chances of survival. Reporter Mary Maloney has the details in today's Health Minute.
Cervical cancer patients undergoing surgery might be quick to jump to the most minimally invasive option. In fact, nearly 60% of all hysterectomies performed today are done laparoscopically or are robot-assisted. But 2 new studies published in the New England Journal of Medicine found those type of procedures may increase your likelihood of dying. The radical hysterectomy is a recommended treatment for patients with early-stage cervical cancer. It involves the removal of a woman's uterus, cervix, and other reproductive organs. The first study analyzed this surgery performed both as an open operation and as a minimally invasive procedure. It found that the minimally invasive procedure had a 9.1% risk of death. The open procedure had a 5.3% risk. A second study showed patients who underwent minimally invasive surgeries were 4 times more likely to have cancer recurrence than those who had open surgeries. The researchers aren't quite sure why the minimally invasive operation is more unsafe, but they think it may have something to do with the carbon dioxide gas blown into the stomach cavity during surgery in order to inflate it and help doctors see. If you had minimally invasive surgery for cervical cancer over 2 years ago and have not had a recurrence, researchers say you probably shouldn't worry. For today's Health Minute, I'm Mary Maloney.
After the break, Eric will have our sports update.
What do you have for us today, Eric?
Well, we'll take a look to see if NDSU was able to clinch their 8th straight Missouri Valley Conference title this past weekend against Youngstown. And we'll also take a look at the men and women's season openers, that and more when we come back. When North Dakota State played Youngstown State last year, they never had the lead until the 4th quarter. Then they had to go to overtime to claim their victory. This year they were hoping to do a little bit, take the lead early on, and the defense lived up to the billing as at the end of the first half, North Dakota State was leading 7-0. Here you see Nathan Mays dropping back to pass with a clean pocket. He hits Jeremiah Broswell for a 46-yard catch. Nice catch there. Penguins trail, however, 7-0. And very next play, Mays fakes the handoff to Tevin McCaster, and he finds Miles Joyner in the end zone for a 21-yard touchdown. The Penguins tie it up at 7. Later on in the 4th quarter, Lance Dunn, he takes it around the right end. He stiffs arms the defender, makes a few defenders miss. A nice little juke move here. So he gets down to about the 10-yard line. The game is still tied at 7. A few plays later, Easton Stick calls his own number, and he gets the 1-yard touchdown run. The Bison regain the lead 14-7. Cam Peterson would later on kick a field goal, make it 17-7. Nathan Mays dropping back to pass. Derek Tuska is not going to have any of that as he records a sack. The Bison still are up 17-7. Here you see Montgomery Van Gorder dropping back to pass and forced a scramble thanks to the pressure by Jabril Cox and Greg Menard. Robbie Grimsley comes up with a game-sealing interception. The Bison would go on to win 17-7.
Position. That scheme is tough. It's tough to throw against it. It's tough to run against it. They do a really good job and play hard, and so proud of our guys for just staying with it and finding a way.
And you see Easton Stick there. He finished the game 13-23, 197 yards, 1 touchdown through the air to Lance Dunn, and 1 rushing touchdown. Lance Dunn, 18 carries, 100 yards, and 1 receiving touchdown for 30 yards. For the final time of the 2018 regular season, North Dakota State will hit the road to take on the Bears of Missouri State. The Bison are looking to get their game going after last week's tough game against the Penguins. The Bears allowed 228 yards on the ground. They're allowing 34 points per game while they were scoring only 27 points per game. Chris Kleiman knows that if the Bears quarterback gets it going, it could be a long day for the Bison.
When he's playing well, they're a really good team, and he makes them go, and they're an up-tempo team, so it's all about rhythm, similar to South Dakota. If they get a first down, they're going to get back on the ball.
This game is only available on ESPN Plus because it is the Missouri Valley Game of the Week. With a win, the Bison will claim the Missouri Valley title outright. The North Dakota State men's basketball team opened up their 2018-2019 season on the road. They took on the defending WAC champions and the preseason favorite to win the league yet again this year, New Mexico State. The Bison trailed from the start as New Mexico State built an 18-3 lead early on. After the first 8 minutes, the Bison were able to keep pace with the Aggies, and they played to a score of 55-53 the rest of the way. The Bison lost 73-56 and were led by sophomore forward Rocky Cruiser, who poured in a career-high 23 points. They will now return home on Sunday for their home opener when they will take on the Gachos of UC Santa Barbara. Tip is scheduled for 1 p.m. Women's basketball open up their season at home. They take on the Comets of Mayville State. Pick it up in the second quarter. Kylie Hurang gets the pass from Sydney Gongo, and she drains the three as the Comets lead 15-11. Later on in the second quarter, more Comets. Andrea Skillingstad gets the layup to go. The Comets lead 18-15. However, NDSU would crawl its way back in as Fernandez finds Emily Dietz down in the low block. The Bison trail 20-19 at the half. They would trail 24-22. Tyra Spencer dribbling it up on top of the key. She gets the tough layup to go as the Bison take the lead 26-25. Riley Newdell finds Michelle Geiserova for three there. The three-pointer to seal the deal. The Bison win 49-43.
Am I happy with it? No. We are a better basketball team. We shoot the basketball better. We rebound better. We run in transition better than you saw. But given what we saw last Tuesday to this Tuesday, we're going in the right direction.
The Bison would get their first win of the season after a tough loss to Minnesota Duluth just a week ago. Tyler Spencer led the Bison with 13 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists. 13 points is a career high. Next, they take on Creighton on Friday night. Tip is scheduled for 5 p.m. Bison junior guard Sarah Jacobson is redshirting this season due to health concerns. Jacobson started all 29 games for the Bison last season, averaging 10 points and 4 rebounds per game. During her first season, she started all 30 games and averaged 9 points per game. She was named to the Summit League All-Newcomer team her freshman year. She did play 14 minutes and not score any points in the exhibition contest. The NDSU volleyball team played its final home match of the season on Sunday against Purdue Fort Wayne and also celebrated their lone senior, Mackenzie Burke. There you see Burke getting the jersey and the flowers, taking a picture with Coach Lopez's Bison, hoping to go up in the standings. Mackenzie Burke gets the Bison on the board. She gets one of her 15 kills in the first set. However, Fort Wayne's Jabaria Green slams it down the middle as the Mastodons take set 1, 25-19. Bison set in the second set. Callie Hagerly catches the defense off guard. Little tip over there. The Bison win second set 25-21. Those fans are excited. If they want the Bison to go up 2-1, they know they got to get behind them. However, Fort Wayne's Kristen Tidd with the big block gets the big block inside. The Bison are trying to keep the momentum. Sydney Boris, she blocks Alexis Blockmeyer there as the Mastodons take the third set 25-23. In the fourth set, Madeline Worcester cleans up the middle on the inside, a little spike there. Mastodons hold on and take set 4, 25-23. NDSU falls to 7-18, 5-9 in the Summit League. Oral Roberts improves this. Fort Wayne improves to 16-12 and 7-7 in the Summit League. NDSU is led by Mackenzie Burke with 15 kills, and Fort Wayne was led by Sydney Boris with 16 kills. The next, the Bison will travel with Oral Roberts 5 p.m. on Friday, and then on Sunday they'll take on the Coyotes of South Dakota. NDSU Wrestling opened the season in a big way this past Sunday when they took on the 17th-ranked Northwestern Wildcats. With a win, it would be the third consecutive season the Bison have beaten a ranked opponent. The Bison started off strong with Brent Fleetwood winning the 125-pound match 9-2, and Cam Sikora, who is ranked 20th in the country at his weight class, winning his match 4-0. Northwestern make things a bit closer. Yaha Thomas would win the 141-pound match by fall over Gavin Sutton, but the Bison would take control and eventually win the entire contest 26-17. With the win, the Bison have now beaten a ranked opponent for the third straight season. Their next matchup will be on November 8th against Northern Illinois at Shields Arena at 7 p.m. And more Bison basketball this weekend, more Bison wrestling, and also the Fargo Force are back at home this weekend.
Well, thanks, Eric. Stay with us after the break for this week's Bison on the Street.
A certain green Christmas-hating beastie returns to theaters this weekend as the folks behind the Despicable Me movies put their spin on the popular Dr. Seuss Yuletide tale.
David Daniel has a preview.
The Grinch is back, and he's still a jerk.
You're a mean one, mister.
Benedict Cumberbatch provides the voice of the snarling sourpuss.
Excuse me, are you getting that?
Who who finally goes over the edge when he gets some terrible news from Bricklebaum, voiced by Kenan Thompson.
The mayor wants Christmas to be 3 times bigger this year. That means 3 times the lights, 3 times the eggnog, 3 times the...
Information needed.
Aha! That was a good one.
You know the plan.
I'm going to steal their Christmas.
First, he'll have to train his companions, Max and Fred, to resist the temptations of presents and cookies.
No. Look at yourselves. Discipline. We must resist.
Pharrell Williams provides the narration and some social commentary.
All this excess and nonsense, it was all about greed, about meaningless stuff that they didn't even need.
Of course, we all know there's no stopping Christmas. In Ho Ho Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
If we're talking about Christmas movies, you know one thing is ahead, even colder weather, but many NDSU students are not used to our Midwest winters.
Reporter Joe Thompson talked to students on advice they'd give newcomers on how to brace the cold in this week's Bison on the Street.
Pants, mittens, hats, gloves, all the essentials to survive a North Dakota winter.
Just keep moving, because I think when you're moving, you can stay warm a little bit better than just standing there freezing.
I always wear pants during the winter. I never go with sweatpants or anything. I always wear jeans and stuff like that. So, because you got a hat on, stuff like that. So,
like wear layers, because like just because you have like a giant expensive winter jacket doesn't like necessarily mean you're going to be like super warm.
Bundling up, wearing hat and mittens.
Stay inside and bundle up, wear hat and gloves.
I would say just bundling up, wearing a big hat and a big jacket like so.
Well, staying inside as much as possible. Taking the bus to campus rather than walking.
Thank you for watching this edition of Bison Information Network News.
Be sure to check us out on Facebook and our YouTube page.
And catch us back here next Thursday night.
Have a great night, everyone.